back to Typecast Heroes, where we believe typology can save the world. I'm Amanda Fogelson.
And I'm Jessie Miller, and today we are continuing our series on how each of the cognitive functions presents in the position in the cognitive stack. So today's focus, extroverted thinking hero for the ENTJs and the ESTJs. So if you are new to Typecast Hero and you are just first watching us, welcome. Go over to our channel. We have so many playlists, one for each of the types, one for all 8 cognitive functions, one for MBTI for beginners. We've got all sorts of things that you could use to educate yourself. So go do that. And if you're unsure of any of the terms that we use, feel free to contact us and we will fill you in on what you need to know.
That being said, in the beginning of every video, I think literally every single video that we've ever done, one of the things that we announce is that we believe that anybody can be anything. And we still stand by that. We absolutely believe that. However, in this series, we are really trying to point out the consistencies between the two types who use the function in the placement that we're talking about. So in this situation, we're really going to focus on certain behaviors that you can see in the ENTJ and the ESTJ using the TE hero. However, the biggest part of this video, the biggest takeaway, is not the behaviors and not the examples, although those help. It's the motivation behind the behavior. Please keep that in mind.
That's good. So, extroverted thinking, as it is defined. Extroverted thinking.
It's the best!
No, extroverted thinking. I couldn't find the button. I couldn't move my notes down. So, extroverted thinking, as it is defined by Carl Jung, is when you are primarily action-based. So it is bringing action to logical systems, and it is enforcing them on the outside world. So that can look like organizing, regulating, and enforcing logical systems, like bringing forth efficiency to all the things. So they're doing all of the actions. Everything has to be effective. Everything has to meet the standards of society. So whatever the ENTJ or ESTJ is doing, it has to meet that, because this is in the hero function. So the hero function is the function that we lead with. It's what makes up most of our personality typically. When we're young, it's the first one to develop, typically. So remember, type development, things can change. You can be knocked off your course by various things. So just keep all that in mind. But it is our identity at our default. It's the thing that we feel most comfortable with. Extroverted thinking likes to solve, as a hero, likes to solve problems. It likes to come up with creative solutions to problems because it's not attached to ideas the same way introverted thinking is. So it's constantly adapting to the environment. It's in real time. It is good at planning long term. It is good at strategizing. It is good for lots and lots of things. Do you want to give any examples?
I love TE. Especially I have a TE parent, so TE hero to me is like,
you have a TE child.
I have a TE child.
But she literally has a TE parent because her father's an ENTJ.
Yes.
Don't get confused with our metaphors.
Yeah. So sorry about that. Anyways, so no, Jessie just hit the nail on the head. Honestly, that's exactly what TE is. She's good at it, even though she's not good at TE, but she's good at explaining TE. So everything she just said is correct.
Thanks. I like the validation.
Of course.
My FE is happy. Having said that, all of the good things that extroverted thinking can do, there are struggles that come with our hero function. And this is a misconception. A lot of people believe that your hero function is the one that you can do no wrong, and that you're just because you are considered an expert at it, you are naturally really good at it. And that's just not, it's just not it, guys. It's not the case, because there is a condition called heroic inflation. And that is when extroverts believe, or introverts, extroverted thinking believes that it can be used for anything that the ENTJ or ESTJ comes across. And anyone who's in a relationship knows that extroverted thinking is probably not the best thing to put on a romantic relationship. Extroverted thinking does not work very well when you are dealing with introspective processes, when you're inside your own head. So there are things that extroverted thinking can't solve, and if you're trying to force it, it's going to be very negative for you. It also has a tendency, because extroverted thinking is so efficient based, it can criticize anything that the ENTJ or ESTJ views as inefficient. So part of the casualties of that could be things like feelings or art. I mean, ESTJs or ENTJs probably don't think that way, but it could be.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be pushing around the people that you work with or your family in the name of getting things accomplished.
Right.
And that's not always a positive thing. So you have to keep that in mind, even if extroverted thinking is your hero. They also have a tendency to not want to play with ideas if they're stuck in a heroic inflation mode. They don't want to play with TI users like me because they're like, no, like, why would you talk about an idea for idea's sake?
Yeah.
So all of those things are tendencies that can happen for an ESTJ and an ENTJ.
So an example would be like, and I apologize in advance here because for TE, I always think business because that is where I use my TE. So it's always the first thing that comes to mind. But TE in a business setting, just like Jesse just said, you have this group of people around you. Everyone has ideas. Everyone wants to be heard. And yet your sole focus is just getting the job done. So you hear, TE can also look like maybe they want to hear all the ideas to make sure that they're choosing the best one. But other times, if you're in that heroic inflation, you're not using your other functions to really balance you out. What that can look like is hearing of a way that is efficient and just grabbing it and going with it because you just want to get it done. And then everyone around you who just worked so hard to be heard by you because they more than likely look up to you, let's be honest. And then you just completely
stomp.
Yeah, you just stomped on them. And it's so easy to do that, especially when you are go, 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 just like you guys are. It's so easy to do that. So just be conscious of it.
So society needs a healthy extroverted thinking because ENTJs and ESTJs, pretty much whatever you do, you are in charge and you do it well. So you run a lot of our systems. You run a lot of the businesses. You're doing all of the things. And we need extroverted thinking to be healthy within you. You have to be a healthy ENTJ or healthy ESTJ because there are other things that you need to consider besides just efficiency. Probably focusing, that hyper focus on getting things done and doing things well is what got you to the position that you're in. But I encourage you to consider other things so that you can be the best you, so that we can have the best world because society needs you and admires you so much.
Yep.
Which is, I fangirl over extroverted thinking. I fangirl over all the thinking.
Over
all the thinking.
Yes.
But society needs you to be your best self.
Yeah. Yep, we do.
So how can we get there?
Balance. Which, if there's any ENTJ or ESTJ working or watching this who's probably over, let's say 40, you guys are probably looking at the screen right now and been like, girl, I do balance. That's my whole life. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to balance. I know that I need to be a balanced human being. I know that I need all this, this, and this. Good for you. More than likely, you did not think about that in your 20s and 30s. So speaking of type development, like we did in the beginning, be aware if you are a 20-year-old, you've got a head start right now, buddy, because you are watching this right now and you can really, really, really start to see how possibly you are really leaning into only that thinking function and forgetting about everything else that you have. Maybe you're also in your parent, but so often that child and inferior are just like left on their own, especially that little inferior guy, little FI. Anyways, so just balance. And that can be so hard when it doesn't seem like it's worth your time to build out those other functions because why? You're already doing such a great job. You're probably excelling at so many things that you're doing, and it's probably not worth looking inward and really trying to see, anything else about yourself because what you're doing is working. So don't try to fix what ain't broke, right? But I would encourage you to spend some time introspecting and looking at those other functions and making sure that you are balancing and becoming a healthy human being.
Because being a human is hard.
This should hopefully make it just a little bit easier.
Thank you for watching our channel. Go watch all of our videos and go watch Welcome to Typecast Hero because if you are an ENTJ or ESTJ, I'm probably still looking for you. So
probably.
Oh my gosh.
These will be the last types. They will.
ENTJ were the second group I ever looked for. And it's 6 months later.
Yeah. 7 months later.
Yeah, 7 months later.
And
still
not done.
Not done. If you don't know what we're talking about, go watch Welcome to Typecast Hero, but have mercy on us.
Yeah, especially y'all. It's a rough one.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, we've gotten much better though.
So what do we want them to do?
Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And also, again, if you're an ESTJ or ENTJ and you've not gone through the interview process, please leave a comment down below and reach out to us. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, and Discord, and happy to chat anytime. Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool.
Let's gather around the type fire and sing our type fire song. Our MBTITYPOLOGY song. And if you feel uncomfortable, then know there's nothing wrong.